Squad up, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of The Squad.
Squad!
We are live on Instagram, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Long time coming.
I feel blessed. I feel very blessed. Today, Listen, so I started my morning, and I was just like, Jesus, I know life gets hard sometimes. But can you just make today easy? Like, I don't want life to be super hard for me. So
make it fun.
Can you make it fun? Can you make it easy on me?
Yeah.
And let me tell you what's been going on today. So,
right.
So today, God blessed me with some commission, some big commission.
Commission?
Yeah, because at my job,
one
of my jobs, I make commission. Well, I have a base pay, and then I make commission as well.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
You get commission off
sales, off like selling memberships. So like somebody came in today and was like, "Yeah, I want to pay you in full." So they dropped $500.
Oh, they got their taxes.
No, this was an old white woman.
Oh, never mind. She just got it like that. My bad.
Yeah, because I was just like, do you want to do the monthly membership?
Or she was like, no.
But, no. So technically, it does save her money because if she was to do the monthly membership, which is like $59, it would have ran. If she would have still had it for a year, she would have spent $700.
$700?
A little over $700. But
what is a special?
No, it's just like if you get them in a package, they do a discount. So what she ended up, that was just like, yeah. So the package is gonna just be $4.99.
Need to learn something, Planet Fitness.
So yeah, and so with commission, they told us we get 35% of it, but I'm not quite sure if that's true. Simply because I got more than that. And I only had like 5 sales on my check my first week, but like it didn't add up. Like when I calculated what that would be, I was like, that don't even make sense.
Right. So, but you got commission coming.
Yeah.
However they calculate that, this is just how you gonna run with it. Okay. I mean that makes sense.
But that was, I had 2 sales today, so it was her, and then it was another one.
Okay.
She just got a monthly, but. Yeah.
But it don't matter. You just racked up all one person. Yes. You better turn up.
Thank God.
I ain't gonna hold you. I did my taxes, and boy, I saw that refund. Boy.
At least you get one.
Yeah, man. Look, being in school, still trying to finish this master's,
because God been telling me to go back to school.
I'm trying to tell you that 1098 be diamond dancing.
But the thing is, like, I already got to put on my taxes that I paid. I pay my loan back to Auburn.
You paid it off?
No, not.
But you been paying on it?
I'm paying on it.
Oh, yeah, you'll get a little rebate for that.
So, I already have to put that on there.
And you got to put in the stimulus.
What stimulus?
Third stimulus from 2021.
I didn't get that.
Oh, if you ain't get it, then you need to tell them on your taxes. You might get something back for that because they owe you.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't get any of the stimmy.
You didn't get none of the stimmy?
I got none of the stimmy.
Oh.
Because I was getting... at the time of the stimmy, I was a dependent.
But the third one's still supposed to come out to dependents, I think. Oh, your mama probably.
No, my grandma.
Your grandma?
Yeah, I was my grandma's.
I'm gonna tell you right now, that chick somewhere floating. She might got it.
Ain't no telling, like.
Cause you know how grandparents be with money some days. They be like, oh yeah, this came in the mail for you 3 months later.
Nah.
Or either they be like,
she don't do that. She'll call me like right away if it's something that came from me.
Okay, so that means she just didn't get it.
Yeah.
My grandma would have been like, oh well, you got so much money. The money? No, I don't.
But she did give me like some of her stimmy because I'm her dependent. So she was just like, yeah, I want to give you some.
Oh yeah, because she got the bonus for having a dependent.
But I was just like, you don't have to do that.
I'm finna start picking I'm trying to tell my grandma to let me claim her as dependent because she be playing.
What?
Listen, it's supposed to be some governmental programs that might be coming out soon if they pass it to where like you can get a certain amount of money if you got a like elderly as dependent. And I'm like, I give you the check if you quit playing. Okay. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it would help out when it comes to like certain programs to kind of get our house back in order and other things like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, grandma, come on now. Come on. Help me help you. Because I think one of them was like 3 bands and I was like, grandma.
Help me, help you, help us.
Help me, help you, help us. And then not only that, it's like some other programs for like elderly dependents to where they'll watch your stuff, help fix stuff around the house. And then even if you're not a dependent, it's the programs like that. So like for older people that's like really getting up in age that don't want like nurses to come by and stuff like that. There are programs out there to help keep up the house, folks to go grocery shopping for you, all them type stuff.
That's good to know.
So,
you ever think about being old? Like, what you want life to be like when you get old? I know I want to live in one of them homes.
You want to be in the home?
I want to live in a community. Like
no, I'm trying to be like Blackish.
No, because I want to live in like a senior living community. Simply because I want to be like old, like the Golden Girls, and have a social life and like be interacting with people.
Have you
Listen,
seen?
do you know how hard it is to interact with people as an adult?
You know how hard it is to interact with people, periods. What you mean?
So like, imagine like, I gotta meet new people. Like, okay,
so you finna meet. Alive, so all y'all finna have depends on meeting each other. That's what we doing.
I'm not wearing no depend. I take care of myself.
That don't mean none of stuff stop working. Stuff stop working.
Stuff only stop working if you let it stop working.
Listen, okay, all right.
That is very progressive.
I feel like there's a lot of old people that are like, I tried to keep it from stop working, and it snap.
You kept eating dairy, though you didn't.
You don't know.
But also, like, some people just don't know. And we're going to talk about that, actually. We're going to talk about how people just end up in certain situations just because they don't know.
Right.
Which brings me to what's been on your mind?
As far as...
in general, like, what has God been revealing to you? Or what is just something that, like, maybe you've been studying the Word and you just like, what's going on?
I have had interesting conversations in the past week with certain people, and they kind of like been, if I gotta compare it to school, it's like that reflective assignment that a teacher give you, like like the chapter review. Yeah. Like, okay, you know, you've been through this chapter, we're gonna go to the new one, but as soon as we start this new chapter, here's a review from the last one.
Okay.
That's kind of how the conversations have been, and they've been centered around forgiveness. And I had a conversation with somebody today, and it was one of the times where I was listening to their situation they was explaining to me, and it was it's kind of, I don't want to say entertaining, but it was like to see that I can now give advice in this area because I've gone through stuff. I'm just like, oh, so this how I feel. Yeah, I'm finna. But you know, it was more of having the experience of being like, I'm listening to you. And based off my experience and what God been dealing with me with the situation and how forgiveness works, because she had said something that was I ain't agree with spiritually. She has said that I feel like forgiveness to me is when you can confront something that had damaged you or gave you trauma and it don't hurt no more. And I was like, I said that can be a possibility, but that's not forgiveness. Yeah. And I was like, forgiveness, I feel like that's just a result that can happen from forgiveness, but that's not always the case. Yeah. I was saying forgiveness, real essence of forgiveness to me is actually, that can be a result of it. But I think in forgiveness, there are times to where you have to face the trauma even though it still hurts you. And how you react to it showcases what forgiveness looks like.
That's true.
And
sometimes it's just it's a practice.
And it's a constant practice.
Yeah, because it's not going to be right away.
Nah. And even then, when it comes to like, I was talking about it with this person from like a family perspective, because I was telling her, I was like, you know, it's easy to forgive when these people are not in your face every day.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
it's easy to say that you forgive when they're not in your face.
Nah, I would say, well, based off my, the sabbatical. So it was easy for me to go to God when I was in like Florida, like really working on myself to be like, okay, Lord, I'm trying to forgive this person, this person, this person, this person, Right. And I was working like constantly through these situations, like going back and being reflective on, okay, I forgive this person. Do I understand my part in that took in these things? Do I see how, their situations and their environments and different things that they went through could have made them not have to, but ended up doing the things they did maybe to me, or even the things I may have done to them. Yeah. Because I had to learn how to forgive myself and other people. Yeah. And then God was like, because with me at least, he was like, oh, okay, you forgiving real good down here. I'm finna send you right back to your environment, to where you've experienced the childhood trauma, the ACEs, all different types of things. Yeah. Because now you have to be able, you said you forgive down there, but how you gonna do when it's in your face? Like, are you still going to lean on me while trying to still learn how to actively forgive? Yeah. Because just because you've forgiven away doesn't mean these people have changed while you have forgiven them. Ooh, so true. when it comes to family or either friends that you want to stay in contact with or relationships with, even when it comes to your significant other that you still with, like husband or long-term girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, there comes a time where you're just like, you have to actively forgive, even if this person has not shifted yet. And you can protect yourself in that if you're choosing to forgive. Like, you can still protect yourself if they haven't shifted, because at that point, I have learned forgiveness also comes to controlling what you can control. And that's yourself. And sometimes you have to control your reactions to the things that they're trying to do to you. Because in a spiritual sense, for me, when you dealing with spirits, especially generational curses of unforgiveness and stuff like that, your family, if that's the people that are like the forgiveness is related to, they're still going to have things that's going to trigger you. They're still going to do things that are going to, if they haven't completely shifted, they're going to do things that going to remind you of when you were 12. Right. Going to do things that remind you when you were 17, 21, however old you were, like things when you had, encountered the trauma that they gave you. But how you react to it, how you think about it, how your mentality doesn't shift because you're getting faced with it again. That's when you start to really understand that you're forgiving a person. Because if you don't react the same way you did when it first happened, or the countless time it happened after that, like, I had to go back in my mind. I was talking about something about my father with this person, and I was like, the response now compared to when I was 18, totally different.
Same.
Because I was like, at 18 it was rage. 28, I'm like, I forgive you. There were certain things going on in your environment. Yeah. There was situations going on between you and my mama. Yeah. I don't know everything that happened. You weren't there. I came out all right. I had my grandpa. I had my coaches. I still learned how to become a man without you. And that's not saying spite. It just means I still was able to become. Yeah, and God was my father throughout the entire process, even when I didn't acknowledge. So in forgiving him, like when people used to bring up my dad, I used to be like,
Same.
Or either get mad or be sitting there. Like when I used to have certain sporting events, and I was like, I used to see, especially in football, like when I used to play football in high school and middle school, I was like, you see the dads. Like some people be talking about the mamas at the places. Mm-hmm. No, football and basketball, when you see the dads. And to see like dads like high five their sons or either teach their sons like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. Or even if you don't know nothing about the sport, you still there. And I was like, back then, anger. Now, I'm going to do better when my kids come around. Yeah. That's all it is.
Yeah, I can relate to that because I see how forgiveness plays out in my life, particularly with my dad as well. Because when I can remember when I first started actively pursuing a relationship with my dad, mm-hmm. It was when I got back to Birmingham. Mm-hmm. And around that time, like, all the changes happened like at once. Like I moved back to Birmingham, gave my life to Christ, mm-hmm. started working on my relationship with my daddy, and God had been speaking to me about like, why do you still call him by his first name? And it was because I couldn't call him dad, and I felt like I had to have that emotional connection to him to call him dad. And God like was like, I get it, but that's your dad. Honor your father. Mm-hmm. Period. And I said, all right. Because mm-hmm. I was calling him by his first name out of disrespect.
Oh, just start throwing out random names. Arthur.
No, his name is Ben.
You ain't had to. You ain't had to release it. But
it's not a deep. His name is Ben. If you know him, you know him. But
his man named Ben. Uncle Ben.
I'd just be like, Ben.
Why did that remind me of like Ben 10? Like corrections. I was like, oh wow.
And
excuse me, Ben.
Or like, I wouldn't call it that to his face, but like, even my mama wouldn't call him my daddy, because my mama would be like, you talk to Ben? And I'd be like, no.
You talked. Well, you know what? At least your mama say that.
She calls her mama.
My mama don't call him. My mama don't say nothing. My mama don't care about it. Man, I remember one time my daddy tried to wild out on Facebook. Like, cause it was like my birthday or something, or either I was posting stuff back when I was in college when I was still heavy on there. And Mind you, we don't speak. We don't have any relationship or talking whatsoever. We just became Facebook friends. Like that's it. And I remember one time my mama had just got a Facebook because she wasn't trying to bother it. And, you know, she still watched my stuff. So, you know, that's your mama. And he was up under one of my posts and was like, you need to come by the restaurant one of these days and come see me. Boy, my mama, I don't even know what I would do. I think I came to visit. I was still in school, so I came to visit Birmingham, come by the house. I came by, I was at home. I think I was like half asleep in my room. My mama finally saw him say that. Flew in my room. I know good and well he ain't doing down your stuff. I was like, Mama, what you talking about? You don't see your so-called daddy doing I was like, Ma, it ain't even that deep to me.
I want to go to sleep.
I'm like, bro, I was like taking an afternoon nap or something. I was like, I'm chilling at the house. I'm out. I ain't at school.
Right.
Mama came in there on firing on all cylinders. She had the blicky like ready. She was like, you want me to say something? I was like, Mama, I ain't never seen, like, I only see her this active when she mad at me. And then, well, when she mad, period. But this was like higher levels. And I was like, oh, Lord. And I know my mama a gangster. But that she was Al Capone. She was ready to, like, you want me to say something? Ain't nothing for me to go say something to him. And I was like, Mama, first of all, calm down. Let me get the crust out my eye. And, you know, we could talk about this a couple hours from now when I wake up for real. Because my door already don't lock. She just bust up in there. Oh, shoot. First of all, my mom is like 5'4", $140 wet. And to see, she came in that thing like Shrek booming my door down. I was like, good God. But it's just interesting when I hear people talk about their parents' reactions or what they say to them. I was like, my mom was like, don't.
She like reacted like that. Like I said, she just be like, you talk to Ben, and even now she does it, I think.
Because it's an indifference.
She'll say your paw. Now she'll say it kind of trying to be slick.
Like, she thinks she's. Oh, I know your mama. That she ain't right.
You talk to your paw, and I'll be like, no, not recently, or yeah. And
that don't even sound right. You talk to your paw.
But all that
kind of Little House on the Prairie. You talk to your paw.
Even now, though, I can see the difference in my forgiveness just because of when I address him. Mm-hmm. People will say, "Who?" Like if I say, like
my daddy.
I was with my grandma one day, and I was like, "Yeah, I was talking to my daddy," and my grandma was like,
"Who?"
I said, "My daddy." Yo, who? My daddy.
That's wild. But that also tells you like how long you haven't respected him in his. I don't want to say role, but
even that disrespect was driven by hurt, and
mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people don't know that they're in a place of unforgiveness
mm-hmm.
because they've been living in the dysfunction of the hurt for so long,
mm-hmm.
and so they're just like, I don't feel no type of way about it.
Yes, you do. Man, you know what's hilarious? When I see people respond like that about their exes, ma'am, sir.
I don't care.
Yes, you do.
And how I know that that's true is because I used to call somebody that boy. You talked to that boy lately, and
you did.
And I was, and it's just because, and now I call him by his name, but like.
But even then, usually, like, but that remind me of that TikTok you sent talking about we be talking like we like 50, 60, and we in our 20s, raised by old folks. Like you was like, you type that boy. And I was like, I think you asked me that one day. I was like, that boy, who? Oh, yeah, last week.
Even then, like again, that shows how much I wasn't over it. That shows how I had not forgiven.
That's extra effort.
Not just him though. I hadn't forgiven myself.
Right.
In the situation, what I allowed in the situation, I hadn't forgiven myself for being in it.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about it is like, it's so much effort to not forgive people and to harbor hate or anger towards folks. It is so much energy.
And I know people got they say what they got to say about Tyler Perry or whatever. But like when he puts in those plays and in those movies, you forgive
he's a villain.
For you.
He's a villain.
Yes.
my home, you know who always says Tyler Perry is a villain. So
in a way.
Brandy, love you. Tyler Perry is a villain.
In a way. But he puts that in there for a reason to let you know, like, the forgiveness is for you.
Because
if you hold on to it, you are hurting
yourself.
And actually, on a like
was it TD Jakes?
On a scientific level, you are actually hurting yourself.
You
physically.
are, yeah.
Like, you're making yourself sick. Actually, like
no, I will.
You're beginning to physically attack yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's sometimes that's where random autoimmune diseases come from.
I'm gonna tell you exactly how this happened. I got a real life example of this. Okay. So my blood grandfather was such an angry man. He angered himself into cancer.
That's possible.
He had so much unforgiveness and anger towards people in his family that he legit was in another state, getting sicker and sicker by the year, to the point to where he was on his last leg and had to come back down to Alabama on this "Forgiveness, Will You Forgive Me" tour.
By then it'd be too late. Like,
well, your body too late, but your spirit not.
For your body, it's too late. Like, because it literally releases acid into your body.
And it was crazy because, like, we, his blood family members, like his ex-wife, my grandmother, his children, my uncle and my mother, and then me and my cousin.
That's me. Who called her?
I don't know. But, it's on the recording. You want to check it?
Yeah, I'm gonna check it.
Because, we transparent. It don't matter. And we...
I'm tired of you calling me.
Can you swipe it up? There you go. And then hit boom.
I'm sorry, y'all. My boss be calling me after work like I ain't...
Your boss.
Anyway.
Distractions. Distractions. So, but it was wild. Getting back to the story, it was wild to see, like, the amount of forgiveness my grandmother had to do in order to have to drive this man back to West Virginia. Mm-hmm. And, like, all the kids and the grandkids was in the car behind her. She was driving him in his car, but he drove half blind and weak on a cane from West Virginia to Alabama for the forgiveness tour. That's what I call it. And my grandmother, his original first wife, had to be the one to drive him back. And he had done atrocious things to her. And I was in the car and I'm like 17. Like, this is before my senior year of high school. And I was watching this and I'm just like, I couldn't even talk to them because, I'm adopted by my grandma. So, like, my mama and my uncle are also my siblings. Yeah. So that's a strange dynamic already in itself.
No, that's my dynamic as well. Like, my mama and my auntie are technically my siblings because my grandma adopted.
So, yeah. So, you one of the only people that get it. So, it's like, I'm thinking in the car, like, all right, I'm the youngest, technically, in this situation. I'm looking at this. And I'm looking at my mom and my uncle, and I'm just like, so ain't nobody gonna talk about how hard this must be for grandma? I was like, the amount of she is driving this man back home, like, and it was like one of the first, I wouldn't say the first acts of forgiveness I had seen with like brand new eyes, like when I was still trying to go back into believing again. Mm-hmm. It was like, this is, I don't know if I could do it personally, but at that time I was like 17. I ain't know the better. But it was like, dang, like this is what forgiveness can look like.
Yeah, and I noticed that even with my mom and my dad, because there was a time where I remember asking my mom, like, if my dad could come over, and she was like, this was before I was like actively trying to pursue a relationship. I was like trying, but even at that time, she was just like, I don't know about that. I don't know about him coming to my house. And
oh yeah, you talking about that? Yeah.
Even like, but now I'll just be like, "He coming? Is that okay?" She's like, "Yeah, that's fine." And to the point, like, they went to dinner last time he was here because he was he thought that him and I was supposed to have dinner, and at the time I was still working at the daycare.
Oh, okay. Like, and so your mom went in your stead?
Yeah,
that's what's up.
But then the next day, like, him and I was supposed to go to lunch, but we didn't because it was storming and stuff. So,
that was that week. Yeah. Oh yeah, you talking about that. So I ain't know your mom went.
Yeah, she ended up going instead.
But you know what's,
now she funny though, because she was like,
petty.
Yes, because she was just like, I ain't gotta bring my gun to it. And he said, what you mean?
I ain't gotta bring my gun. That's what she trying to tell you. Like, look, I'm going. However, don't play with me. Play with your, whatever Dolph said. I can't say it on here, but hey, because your mama finna pull out the blicky on him. Like, look, I'm gonna go to this dinner. You paying. However, active if you want to.
Yep.
Your mama a G.
I love my mom.
Your mama's such a G sometimes. So every time she be talking, I'll be like, that's a G right there.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Getting to know her at this age is wild. Like, even forgiveness of my mom at this age, like, it's so different. Because I didn't realize how much unforgiveness I was harboring for her until, honestly, till I came to Christ.
Right.
And I was like, oh, wow. I had, like, I read something that said when you keep replaying the conversations that you would have with the person in your mind, you have not forgiven. And I think back on how many like conversations I would replay in my mind and be like,
"Oh, you talking about that? I should have said this.
I should have said this, and I should have said this, and what you don't know is da-da-da-da, and what I could say to hurt your feelings is da-da. I used to do that so much.
Yeah, that's so draining. You having all these conversations with yourself looking like a psycho.
Yes. And so when I got to that, I got past that point because what helped me get past that point with both my parents is God, like really being real with me and saying, look at you. Mm-hmm. Look at them. At your age, she had you. He had 5 of you.
And that's perspective.
And they also experienced many different things before you and during you.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that I was talking to my friend about.
And with each other.
Right. And that was an example I talked to my friend about because she was talking about this unforgiveness she had with her mother. And she was like working on it. She felt like she forgave her mama but for a bunch of stuff. And she said her mama had came to her one day and was like, I feel like if you had another mother, you would have been happier. Right. And I was telling her, because her mother is like maybe 10 years younger than my grandma. Her mother's older. And it was the conversation I was saying, like, bro, you got to understand. Because every time I used to talk to her, I was like, give your mama grace. Yeah. Because I was like, think about how life right now. There's a certain level of autonomy and independence that is not happening, like that she's not getting. Yeah. And not only that, it's the fact of, I was like, when your older brother was born, she's like, when she was 24, I was like, huh. Ooh. Okay. Now, mind you, when she said this, I was like, all right, cool. Her mama is like in her 60s. So you telling me your mother has been a parent for 40 years at least, minimum, or at least going on 40 years. She was only alive up to 24 years by the time she became a parent. All she ever knew for the majority of her life is being a mom.
Yeah, she don't know herself. Like, do you know, I'm just now learning myself.
Man.
At 24, well, finna be 25, like, just now learning me, who God called me to be, not me according to the world standards
or whatever that is,
trying to fit into a box. Me.
And it's not even that. Like, for me, it's more of the, not that I'm figuring out who I am, but more of like allowing that version of me to be out.
Is that right there? Yeah.
Because it's like, after so many times and so many friends, so many relationships you've gone through and different interactions you have, sometimes so many I'm trying to figure out a way to word this the best without saying certain stuff. But I would say so many interactions can sometimes dwindle who you are to yourself or who your true self is. And coming across certain people that may have abused you, giving you trauma, triggers, all these other things may have diminished who you thought you were in your own eyes. Absolutely. And sometimes you forget that you enjoyed certain things. Like, for me, because I was an athlete for so long, and one of the things I used to pride myself on being when I was growing up is I was the athletic nerd. Like, I was talented enough in certain sports, but at the same time, I was a nerd. I was the one that, met up with everybody. I didn't meet a stranger. I adopted that from my grandpa. Like, I never talked down on people, because I was never, like, you in high school especially, you had the jocks, the nerds, the geeks, because nerds and geeks are two different things, people. Understand that? Two different things. Then you had the artsy creative crowd, you had the emos, you had the prissy, everybody, all the different. I was but I didn't mess with nobody. No, I was the balance. I knew somebody in every group. And because I always had the thing in my belief of, I know what it feels like to be mistreated and to be like talked down to or whatever based off like rank or status, even though we coming up as kids, we still learn that early. And I was like, ain't it though? But I was like, I was one of the people that I would never mistreat somebody that just came across. I always had, and it was funny, me and Kevin Gates had this in common, however, out of all people. It was like, I'm a person that don't tolerate disrespect because I show my respect first.
Yeah.
So, and Kevin Gates said it perfectly. He was like, I always give my respect first. So when somebody disrespect me, it's game time, because I know for a fact you did this on purpose.
Yeah.
Because giving you no reason.
Yeah.
And that's how I carry myself when in interaction with people. And because of that, but once you go into certain roles, like once you get to college or you get out in the workforce and you had to assimilate to a certain role. Like for me, I was always the athletic nerd that was always socially conscious, right? It was a thing. But me having to go into athletics, going into college only, it pigeonholed you, or they tried to pigeonhole you into a certain role to where parts of your identity felt stripped.
Yeah.
Or you had to go find other outlets to have your identities, but how much time you got?
Yeah, you can never be all of yourself
at once. So the more I started like branching out, and like I was one of the only athletes that like went to the Black Student Union meetings and stuff like that. I would literally.
You were like, it was really just a few, girl.
I got you. Don't even worry about it. Boom. I show you how to do a boss. Listen, you gonna keep calling me before I ain't coming in tomorrow, and you gonna be short.
I don't know what she wants. She probably trying to see what happened with that lady and that $500.
I got her to buy. That's what happened.
But it's not even that. Like, she wanted that. Like, I told her about the special that was going on.
And she bought it. And you know what's probably happened? She like, I'm confused. I haven't had this happen.
That's no business. God bless me.
Right. But it's like the more you interact with certain people or be stuck in certain roles, you lose pieces of yourself that was so authentic. Especially if you become that person that once you get into certain friend groups or relationships, you start to absorb their beliefs or their actions and skills, which can happen.
Oh, it's happening.
Quite. But it's easier. People don't really realize it's happening until it happens. And it's simple stuff like,
you think it's you. You like, oh no, this is me. This is what I want to do.
And it ain't even that. It's like you pick up certain stuff from your partner, like relationship wise. Like, okay, for instance, I have picked up certain shows that I have watched over time from like exes. Like, so I'm the athletic nerd that also knows what Pretty Little Liars is. Have watched Vampire Diaries and all different types of like what people consider girl shows, because I had to sit there and watch them in my house, at her house, in my dorm, whatever, whoever it was at the time. Yeah. And not only that, makeup tutorials. Yeah. I know what mascara, foundation, you know, all that different stuff, different brands, you know, undertones, you know, eyeshadow. Bruh, I know Jackie Anna.
Jackie Aina.
I know however pronounce you, Jackie Aina. I didn't watch her that hard to know her name, but I've seen her face on my TV quite a lot. Like natural hair textures, understanding difference between 4B and 4C and different stuff like that, different types of weaves. You pick up stuff from your partners, and it's like it's just knowledge. But then, do you absorb it into yourself?
Listen, I wanted to like anime so bad.
Cause you lame. You lame for not. You lame for not. My hero.
And
Crazy.
like, not even gonna lie, I like some of them, but it depends on what it is. Simply because it has to have some level of, like, I have to be able to get something from it for me.
And I would say some of the animes that person was putting you on, I was like, some of them were dark.
Yeah, I have to get something from it. Like, I like Sales at Work, even though it's only like one season of it. But that's on Netflix. And I like Sales at Work because it talks about the body. It talks about sales and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah,
like,
Sales at Work. With the red cells and the white cells.
Yes, the macrophage and stuff. I love it.
I feel like you would love Food Wars.
Probably. I don't know what it is. Probably.
It's an anime about, it's legit a high school full of cooks.
Oh,
and but they compete, like, they make food that's on the screen to make you go.
But like, even with my dad, I see that even with relationship with my dad. Like, I see myself falling into that because my dad watches anime. My dad is a blurred, actually.
Same.
So I
gotta love the culture.
Like, when he brings up stuff, and because I don't really know what to do with him, like when we hang out and stuff, because I like to just chill out at home.
He like go outside.
Yeah, I don't like being out like that. I will go outside and chill out outside.
Not too far from the house.
Exactly. But like, he was like, "Oh, you watch anime?" I was like, "A little." I'm not like big on it like that.
You're not an anime head, but you've watched anime.
And like I've been watching Demon Slayer lately, just because spirituality.
Hey,
Demon
look,
Slayer, and I actually been picking up stuff.
Hey, what season you on?
That's like this. I'm only on season 1 because I
Hey,
just started.
let me tell you something. You
But
enjoy the ride.
Even
enjoy the
the
ride.
very first episode, I was like, "Oh wow, it's amazing that
Mm-hmm.
this demon can latch onto you, and you can look like the same person, but it's really not you." And then that made me think about Parasite.
The Maxim,
Yeah.
yeah. I forget because we did have a whole episode on Parasite, the Maxim, and Tokyo Ghoul, but that was an anime hit. Enjoy the show, enjoy the ride. Season 2 is amazing. Can't wait till you get there. Mugen Train the movie, you're gonna cry. Yeah, it's amazing. Good little ride. Animation quality, chef's kiss, and you ain't even got.
And like I watched Devilman Crybaby.
Oh no!
I know it's not like that was the very first anime I ever watched. Though.
And that was the first one.
Yeah.
He did that to you.
No, I did that to myself.
Why'd you do that?
Because I wanted to see it.
That was your first introduction to anime. That?
I liked it. I enjoyed it.
That's a wild start. That is a wild start.
It is, but like think about where I was when
and that's
Crybaby first came out.
And that's why I think about it. Like, yeah, you're right, but I'm just like in my mind, I didn't know that was your first one when we talked about it.
That's the very first one I saw. And I tried with Naruto. Can't do it.
It's long.
I tried.
I ain't gonna lie.
It's just very long.
I'm gonna tell you this.
I tried with Dragon Ball. Can't do it. I tried with Sailor Moon. Can't do it.
Sailor Moon. Yeah. I would say this: if you're looking for anime with lessons in it, I would say stay on Naruto, please. Just keep going.
See,
not only when you don't have anything else to watch.
I can't just because of where I've been, and it gets into the choppers and stuff.
Oh yeah, because ninjas and chakra.
And
Yeah,
I don't care to let any of that into me.
that's fine. I understand that. So yeah, never mind. Well, then watch My Hero Academia.
Now I did like that when you showed it to me. Like when the first few episodes that I saw, I did enjoy that.
I would say My Hero Academia is a good one for you.
But yeah, all that to say, like, I'm in a space where I'm wanting to watch it and wanting to watch it for myself to try to figure out like do I like it? If I like it, what do I like?
Oh yeah.
And I'm learning like I only
liking stuff for yourself.
With anything that I watch, though, I only care to watch it
if you can get something from it.
Get something from it.
Right. There's no mind. You can't do mindless stuff.
Not really.
Right.
And I used to could, but like I can't anymore.
See, I can do both because I'm such a thinker. Sometimes I have to watch mindless, so I won't think as much. Like
now, if I do watch something mindless, it'll be like I like to watch Sister. I like to watch the Parkers.
I don't think that's mindless.
To be honest, because
that's regular life. That can happen. I'm like mindless to me is like Family Guy.
I can't even watch Family Guy no more because
I love Family Guy.
Y'all so dumb.
Like I said, mindless. But the thing about it is, when you think about the back end of it,
I have been watching like American Dad.
See, I do like American Dad.
I was now what I was growing up, and what I really enjoyed about myself was I was a self-McFarlane kid. Like,
everybody was. Like if you grew up during like the 2000s, you was a self-McFarlane child.
My granddaddy though, because like, I walked in on him watching Family Guy.
If it was the 90s, if you grew up like middle school and high school in the 90s, you were a Simpsons head. So if you grew up in like elementary, middle school, high school in the 2000s, you were a Family Guy person. It's weird how that genre, and I mean some people still fool it to the Simpsons still, no matter the genre, because it's like it's a classic. Like my mama crack up at King of the Hill, like be crying laughing. I do too, but it's weird the fact that that's bonding for us is watching King of the Hill. I'm like, bro, what? My mama watch King of the Hill.
And I think like I watch Golden Girls, and so I've seen every episode at least 100 times, and it is because
I ain't that committed.
No, it's just because I started watching when I was 12, and so I will watch reruns. Like I've had DVDs, like I will watch reruns.
Did somebody introduce you to it?
I started.
Or you just watched it randomly?
Aunties, like with my aunties and my mama, and my grandma, and so it was just our bond. That was our bonding show in the weirdest way, and so
that makes sense though, because in my opinion, Golden Girls walked so Sex and the City could run. In my opinion,
yeah.
So I get it. But
I want to see a black one.
Golden Girls?
I want to see a black Golden Girls because I want to see Loretta Devine.
It's true. I can see that.
Jennifer Lewis.
Yup. It's already
it's gotta be a movie.
That's already a good cast right there.
Loretta Devine, Jennifer Lewis.
What is her name? You know who I'm talking about? She always played the evil woman.
Lynn Whitfield.
Lynn Whitfield. If you get them three together, who else?
Who gotta be Sophia? Somebody gotta be Sophia.
Somebody gotta balance them out.
You need a real old. Let's see, it could have been Cicely.
Cicely too old, and then Maya gone too. So let me
But
see.
then she gotta be like quick-witted.
Quick-witted old.
Yeah.
I feel like it's somebody we ain't thinking about, and it's so easy. You know, if she went wildin', who
plays Sugar Mama? Jo Marie Payton.
She does need a resurgence outside of voice acting. I can see that. Know what? You know who I would do. She's a comedian, and she got some big teeth. I know this sound bad, but she used to always have the skit, "Ain't I a Lady?" Like, you know, if she would be. I forgot her name.
No, it ain't I. It's,
Ain't I? I'm such an effing lady. Like, she would be born for that.
Dang, what's her name? She was on the Queens of Comedy.
She is on the Queens of Comedy. I can't think of her name.
Okay, aside from her, there's another lady on the Queens of Comedy. It ain't Della Reese. I thought Della Reese could do it.
Della Reese still alive?
I don't know. I don't think so.
She ain't touched by angels.
I think she passed. I can't stand it. It's another lady who reminds me of Della Reese. You know the lady who played Andale Mama on The Parkers?
Yeah.
Let me look up. I got a computer right here.
The fact that we ain't looked up nothing, but back to the conversation. It was like
Adele Gibbons.
Adele Gibbons. Yeah, that's my
her
girl.
name?
That's my girl. I think she needs to be the fourth one, because I feel that her and Jennifer Lewis are going at it. Yeah, exactly.
And Loretta Devine got to be Rose.
Mm-hmm. And then Lynn Whitfield
Lynn Whitfield is Blanche.
Exactly. See how this cast came together. Tyler Perry, don't make this movie.
Anyway, something that God has been speaking to me
Lionsgate,
about.
don't make this movie.
Something that God has been speaking to me about is and he's been confirmed. Like, he confirmed it on Sunday in service, and I was just like, all right,
okay.
I guess we're gonna talk about this. So, it's being a lukewarm Christian. And
air just got sucked out.
And we're not going to talk about it from a judgmental standpoint. That's not why we're here. It's something that you said, just about how you always connected with a lot of different people in school. God reminded me of something today, and like reminded me of where I am right now and where I've been when I worked at Love Stuff and stuff like that. He's like, I've put you in positions to be able to help people
and share
them.
And share the gospel.
And even though, like, at the time you were doing this, you were still able to make people feel comfortable and talk to them and help them without judging them. And so I need you to do the same thing where you are now. That's my child.
And I ain't even gonna hold you. That's what I thought when you told me the jobs you had. I was like, oh yeah, it's over with.
Yeah.
And then I thought about the job I had. I was like, oh, you wrong for this.
Yeah. Like,
we have to talk to people.
We have to. And it's because, and I thought about that today, and because what he also said was, look at the people that I've placed in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You both have not you both, but you all have your own stories.
Boy, we got testimonies.
We have testimonies, and there are some people who have not yet met me as they should.
And your testimony gonna work.
It's gonna work. And also, I need you to be able to present me in a way that is not judgmental, because the reason that they have turned from me is because that's all they know about me, or that's what they think they know about me.
And also, side note, a lot of people think God ain't fun.
Yeah,
and then when you say,
like, when I read God's word, I laugh.
Cause he petty. I ain't even gonna hold you.
When I was, like I told you, like when we was having Bible study, and I told you about like what God was revealing to me as I was studying Genesis 1, I said, now you know what? I don't want to say that you're petty, but this is
petty. Cause we ain't gonna talk about Bible study, but we could. But it's like sometimes I be reading certain. Jesus was petty too. Boy, he from a son of his father. Like, boy, cause I started looking at some of the sermons he was doing in front of people.
He was whooping people.
Well, that's easy. That's easy to point out. But it was the days where I was looking at certain scriptures like, okay, how I digest history and stories translates into a hood movie or Boondocks cartoon.
Same.
So,
oh my goodness.
So that's how I always made history. That's why I'm such a big history buff, because how the stories talk to me.
How I really wanted to say it at Bible study, but I wasn't sure if
it would be accepted well.
Yeah, I was like, how I really wanted to say it was God was like, nah, Chief, that ain't
that ain't how I roll, Chief. That ain't it, Chief. But like the stories of Jesus when he was just like, when people used to question him, and you could tell his response was like
smart Alec.
Like, so He who is without sin cast the first stone in. How about that? Like, do hear that? Hey, you can read it out the paper. That don't look that exciting out the paper. Say that out loud. Act that out.
Like, how would you feel if your friend, like, if you told your friend you were getting ready to do something, and your friend said, "No, you can't do that," and you just be like, "Get thee behind me, Satan."
Like, bro, like when we talking about with old English, which means the Hebrew is even more cutthroat. Come on now. And I'm just like, I'll be looking at certain stories. I was like, now Jesus, he ain't had to do that. Like when the craziest, when I still think about the story when they was on the boat in the storm and Jesus knocked out and they panicking, they go wake him up. And all I see in my head is, y'all go again. Y'all don't trust nothing. Let me go ahead. Peace be still. I'm going back to bed. Like, bro. Like, and then they on the boat like.
How I imagine what happened with Peter and him was, why did you doubt?
Nah, you gotta say it how we do. Now, why you do it like that? Now, why you do that?
Or
why you do that?
Or when he kept asking him like, "Do you love me?" I'm asking you, "Do you love me?"
I'm trying to give you a chance. I'm asking. It's kind of like your parent. I'm finna ask you one more time now. Cause it's like when your parent trying to see if you finna lie, and then they ask you a question, they was like, "All right, now I'm gonna ask you one more time."
You gonna find out.
Like, bruh. And then I think about some of the other stories, like in the Bible, like
I see him side eyeing Judas, like.
No. The meme, is it me, Jesus? That is how he really felt.
One of you will betray me tonight.
Is it me, Jesus?
No,
it's not you. Is it me, Jesus? No,
it's not you.
Is it me, Jesus? Is it me, Jesus? Like, like Jesus was a savage. Y'all gotta understand, Nazareth was not rich. Nazareth was like the hood.
And that's why people looked at him like nothing. Like, people.
You are Jesus of Nazareth.
Like that, and also people.
You are Jay of Titusville and Centerpoint. Nobody cares.
Come from Nazareth. Like,
can anything?
Really looked at him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, when you hear somebody say some sly stuff,
you the son of God.
Hold up, you talking about Mary and Joseph, boy? Ain't he the carpenter?
But anyway, all that to say, this is not a judgmental space. Jesus is not a judgmental God.
No. I don't think he judged Judas. Because that's side eye.
But even then, what I want to talk about is, I saw this yesterday regarding, as it pertains to like being a lukewarm Christian, a lot of people misunderstand what judgment is.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus is not going to look at you and say and call sin out to make you feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
He calls sin out lovingly, and he calls us to do the same thing.
And that's the crazy part. Like, when you think about the traditional church, mm-hmm. and how like Jesus really rolled up on folks real smooth. I think about the woman at the well. Mm-hmm. I think about Mary Magdalene. I think about how he came up on Peter a few times.
How he did the woman at the well was wild.
But if you got,
you don't have one husband. You have 6.
But you gotta think, he just coming at you like Jesus came at her like a homeboy. Like,
and
hey man,
and the one you got now ain't
in it. Let me tell you something. Jesus rolled up on her like this. Hey girl, why you out here acting like you only got one man? I done seen 6. I seen your house, and the one you got, trash. You think he's something? Garbage. Like, you gotta think she was just like, oh my God. Yeah, she crying at the well. She's like,
and then she just went and said, you told me everything I ever did.
Yeah, because I hadn't seen it all. Did you try to come up here? Girl, you dirty. And your clothes clean. Ain't
that how a lot of people live?
Bruh, you dirty, but your clothes clean. You bathed, but you dirty.
But that's how a lot of lukewarm Christians are. And so we had a guest pastor speak. He was from Florida. We had a guest pastor speak.
It's always Florida. Florida man. Got a Florida man pastor. Oh, Lord.
He talked about Christians in the South, and he was like, what we have to understand is that we're looking outside of the church for the people that we need to help.
When the church already got enough sick people in it. Like, you can go get some more folks, but you need to talk to the folks in the building.
Yes, like God wants us to go out, meet the people where they are, absolutely. But also,
that's only one part.
Let's look at the people in the church.
Let's look at the folks sitting next to you on the same pew.
Yeah. And so he was like,
or set of chairs, depending on what church you in.
He broke down the barriers that may stop us from reaching people who are, I like to call them the title masters, like they are Christian in name alone. And so,
see, I'm against the political Christian.
So he talked about that. He talked about the political Christian. He also talked about basically how we're Christians by culture,
not by relationship.
Not by relationship. Like we know the title. We know what that means, or we know what the title means. We know what the title means in culture. We know we them CME Christians. We go Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter. I celebrate Christmas. I celebrate Jesus' birthday. Okay. Do you know Jesus?
First of all, you ain't gonna talk about my joke I run every year. Happy birthday, baby Jesus. I do it all the time, every Christmas. If it's pagan, but if we gonna act like we gonna celebrate today, happy birthday, baby Jesus.
But he did talk about that and how like people would say like I go to church. So how he broke it down was people will say like
I go to church.
If you ask somebody if they're a Christian, they'll talk about all the things that they do.
They
never talk about who they know.
Man, and you know,
and they wear it ultimately as a badge.
I don't do that.
They wear it as a badge of honor, like something that they are supposed to get rewarded for. Oh, I'm a Christian, so that means I'm going to heaven. Jesus will look you in your face and tell you, I never knew you. And that is why his word says that. Because his word literally says, even the people who do, there are many people who do things in my name who will not get into heaven.
He does say that.
And it is because they do the things for their own glory, not for God's.
And it was like when you said that, I was like, I don't do that. I was like, when people be like, are you a Christian? Yeah, me and God got a relationship. And it's not like, oh yeah, I go to church. But you know when I was younger though, yeah, I go to church.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember growing up and saying, well, I go to church. Yeah, I'm a Christian. I go to church. I'm on the dance team. I'm in the choir.
And to be honest though, I'm gonna say something real wild, and you gonna be like, dang, I ain't never thought about that. It's a whole lot of people that's Christian that's atheists.
Facts.
Or I would say agnostic, due to the fact of you do Christian or religious things, but you do not even know who you talking to. Yeah. So you just out here doing stuff. So you really don't believe.
And it's that, and also at this point in time, there's a lot of Christian witches, and they don't even.
Boy, it's a lot, and not just Christian. I ain't gonna say that.
Let me break down what witchcraft is.
Go ahead.
Yes, we got
you got this one.
We got y'all with the crystals and all of that. Like y'all knowing that. Let me tell you right now. I don't care what anybody has told you. It's not of God. It's not Atlanta. It's not of God. But.
You lost me.
Tarot cards. So there's a sound on TikTok. It's like it's from a song.
That's not Atlanta.
Yeah. So the crystals, the tarot cards, horoscopes is not of God. Period. I've talked about on the podcast what horoscopes actually are.
What I was going to say.
When you dig into a horoscope or you get into agreement with a particular sign, it is attaching all of those demons that is connected to it to your soul, to your spirit.
So
you're taking on all of that.
So the new TikTok need to be like, that's not Jehovah.
It's not Jehovah. Tarot cards is not
Jehovah. Crystal is not Jehovah.
But yeah, sage, not Jehovah.
No, it's not. But you know the thing about it is that people gonna try to combat with that is
he made it. It's been manipulated.
I ain't even. Let me tell you something. And maybe it's me. I'm finna be wild for a second. Cool. Why you giving so much power to a rock?
But you can't give it to Jesus. Like that is a real
to
question.
A plant.
Yo, I saw something yesterday that really had me like.
So
you know what? But this is the thing. This is the sticking point. So we go to.
Oh, you finna do
when
it.
People talk about like what is the evidence that Christ existed, what is the evidence of God and all of that, because our calendar goes by BC and AD, and that's so simple to think about.
What you mean?
Before Christ.
I know what it means, but what are you talking about? Like I think it was so simple it flew.
When people say, what's the evidence of Christ?
BC
AD.
Child, please.
Before Christ got here, after like Anno Domini, like
that's the evidence of Christ.
That's the evidence.
That
and it's so
time.
When I saw it, I was like,
time.
You're right.
I mean, yeah. You know what? Yeah. However,
it's so simple.
It's so simple, but you like when you think about it, like it make you go like you sitting there, like, yeah. What's the evidence of Christ? BC AD.
You sitting there trying to go through all these things. Well, it's this and this and this. Oh, wait a minute.
Time itself. But you know what the crazy part is?
The time that we go by.
At the time that we go by, but you know they're gonna some of the folks that don't believe gonna say time is a social construct. Right. See how that just went. See how you see. Hey.
Don't bring your girlfriend into this.
I didn't.
No, she don't. She believes, but like she do say that.
That's because she be wilding. It's a different conversation. But it's just like, but people like try to negate the fact that Christ is real, and then the so-called like real, like traditional Christians don't even have enough, I would say, love and tactfulness to show that God is real.
Yeah, and that's again, that's part of being a lukewarm Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not on fire for God because you're not willing to represent him in the way that he told you to represent. God tells you in the Bible how to represent him,
Mm-hmm.
how to live.
And it's actually
And he tells you
it's quite simple.
It actually is, but it's hard.
It's a hard in this world, but it's a quite simple to follow.
And this is the word that God gave me the other day. So
Mm.
it's hard, but you have to think about it from this perspective.
Right.
You think about it from the perspective of leaving a toxic relationship and entering a healthy one. When God tells us,
I gave that example to somebody before. Ooh, go ahead.
God tells us to walk away from our sin, like at first we're like, you don't.
But I love it, God.
We don't want us to. You don't want us to have fun. You don't want us to do this.
You don't want us to have a relationship. You don't want us to have no money.
When you look at everything that you're trying to hold on to,
Ain't nothing worth it. It ain't worth it.
That is, and I.
It ain't
God
worth
revealed
it.
it to me is Stockholm syndrome.
Phew, right.
You're holding on to, or you're trying to justify your captor. You're trying to justify your relationship.
There's a
with your
bunch of different
captor.
things related to that.
You're trying to justify you having sex, even though the sex was welcoming in spirits. That
Man,
were damaging to your soul.
the battles I have had with people in the last few months about that. And then somebody, one of my friends has said this too. She was like talking about dating. And she was like, man, you know, it's wild to me how many men, especially black men out here saying, you know, they Christians, but, and you talking about you Christians, you believe and you all this stuff, but not even dropping the thing off. She's just like, but sex you won't take off the table.
You won't.
It's like, and she was like telling me like some of the things dude saying to her, she's like, you know, I got to try that thing out or stuff like that. And I'm just like, but you, and the thing about it is, if you're such a Christian, but this can't come off the table,
right?
Like, I'm not saying like you struggle with it and then you trying to like deal with it, trying to kind of come. That's a different conversation. It's more of, I'm a Christian, but I'm going to do this.
Right.
And that's just like, how you going to side with sin and be like, you 100% committed to it. And I mean, I've been abstinent for like, it's gonna be a year soon, in like a few months it'll be a year. And it was just like, I knew one of the things me coming back to Christ when it came to, I couldn't be out here saying I'm a Christian and I believe in the Lord and I'm just out here dropping. That ain't. And even then it was such a controlling thing. The spirits that attached to it was so controlling. Like I had no control.
Absolutely.
Like,
and you wonder why that is like, and it's even with porn addiction and stuff like that.
You have no control.
You have no control,
and it's hard
because that spirit has latched onto you. And we talked about this in another episode. It's latched onto your insecurity, so it knows what buttons to push.
Your stress, your anxiety, all that type of stuff.
It's no coincidence that as soon as that insecurity comes up in you,
you go straight to it.
Porn is presented.
Mm-hmm. And
or
that's
this girl comes up.
Or you go pull up, you go to them. And it was like, I remember when I was still going through that. I'm trying to think, when was I active in a way to where I felt like I wasn't in control? I'm trying to figure out what part of my insecurity it was attached to. Stress for one. Low self-esteem for two. Because I felt like I wasn't good at certain things, and not just not one good at certain things, but the fact that I was good at this with this person, or at least this person saw that I was good at this to them. You know what I'm saying? Or what's something else? I think that might be it. As I'm processing it, I don't think there was any other reason besides low self-esteem and stress. Not that I think, because I think if I think about, I think sex and smoking was in the same like section.
Same for me.
Like, but then when I had to come back and be like actually believe in God and stuff, like nah, smoking is still, you know, I had to cut that loose. Now every once in a while I might still dabble socially, but not like I would. You remember I was chain smoking bad. Yeah. I was buying like 2 packs of blacks a day. Yeah. I was stressed and I was smoking because I wasn't doing the other thing. So if I wasn't doing the other thing, I was smoking, or I was smoking weed, and I always had some weed available.
I smoked most when I was by myself.
When I was by myself, or I was with my friends,
I didn't want to face the loneliness.
Oh no!
And so I smoked most when I was by myself.
That's
why when I was in my apartment, listen,
smoked up.
My walls were white when I moved in.
I know. And then I saw him when you moved out, quite gray. And to be honest, I think I had forgot that your walls was white because I was so used to them being gray.
I forgot that my walls.
And then I think your auntie had wiped the wall or something when you was moving out, and I was like, oh.
No, she moved one of the things that I had up,
and it was a whole outline. I was like, oh my, no, my bad. Oh my. I was like, bruh. And then it got so bad, I was like, bro, when I thought about it, first of all, I don't even like the smell of smoke in stuff. But the fact that I was smoking I smoked in my room. Like, and I was not a room smoker. I didn't smoke I didn't never do that in my house. Like that. Like, to this day, I hate when I smell like smoke on people. To the point to where I was just like, bro. Like, but then I was so stuck. I wouldn't have sex. I was smoking. It was one day essence. It was, it was either sex or smoke.
For me, it was sex, smoking, or eating. Overeating.
No. Stress, smoke, or sex. That's what it was. That's what it was. Because I used to do too much. Yeah. Stress, smoke, or sex. That's it. And when I actually had to like recommit, it was like, I knew for a fact the least I had to do. The first thing I had to do, cut that off.
Yeah.
And not only that, I had to commit to the idea of like relationship wise. I was like, Lord, even then I was like, hey, I'm a hopeless romantic. I don't know what I'm doing out here in these streets. And I was like, when my person come, please let them bring up abstinence before me. So that way I at least got an indicator that this is my person. Because I can't just be out here like this too much. I'm too much of a romantic. Like I can still be like a leader, but I'm a romantic.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I even learned how to be more of a romantic more I got to know my real self again. Mm-hmm. Because being in certain relationships kind of make you dull down your romanticism.
It makes you feel like that comes with insecurity, because it makes you feel like I can't do too much. If I do too much, then they gonna leave.
Yeah. And then many times I was like deal with too much, and I got cheated on or broke up with because I was being a gentleman.
Yeah.
Or I wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be, somebody told me straight up, an ex told me to my face, I cheated on you because I thought you were going to do it.
Yeah, you told me that.
And I was just like, she said, you were too good to be true. You're too good of a person. So I went and cheated. And I said,
but ain't that how what? Ain't that how we do God, though?
That is how we do God. And that's what taught me something.
We give into the sin because it's like, well, at the end of the day, I ain't going to never be perfect. And so he going to let me go eventually. Because I ain't gonna never get it. Because
trust in a human form is hard.
But also, it's because we don't know God. It's because we don't know the God who gives grace, and we don't know why He gives that grace. Mm-mm. God gives us that grace because He understands. He understands because He knows the situation. He knows everything. He knows the situations that we come from. Mm-hmm. He knows that the sin was here before we got here.
Facts.
He knows how the devil works. He knows how Lucifer works. And so he knows how he moves and how he moves.
And he counteracts it at every move, even though we don't even realize it. And not only that, it's more of the what I was thinking. I just had it. Don't lose it. I think I lost it. Never mind. Maybe I wasn't supposed to talk about it. But it was like thinking about the conversation of just going from lukewarm to on fire. Bro, that take work.
It
Ain't no switch.
It does, and it takes you getting to know God. You can't.
And sometimes just re-knowing yourself.
Yeah.
And having to know where you were.
Yeah, you have to know yourself, where you were. You have to know, like, you and God have to have some talks and be like, okay, I'm understanding this about myself, and I struggle with this, and I may have to spend time with you in this way because this don't work. And you have to understand.
And you got to retrain yourself to how to go against yourself.
Yes.
In order to be with him, you got to go against yourself.
A lot of time, the enemy ain't even outside of you.
You the enemy. It was the last time when I was going off on that last podcast episode. Oh, my bad. I went and re-listened to that, and I was going off. But it was like, it's like what I said that day, like, who really the parasite? You or the parasite? Like, is the parasite, or is it you? Are you the problem? Like, cause we be giving demons too much power some days. Sometimes it's really just you. Ain't no spirit, ain't no demon, no nothing. It's you.
And it's you because it's what you've learned and you have taken on. We still get in these spaces where we operate in our trauma and in our pain and our dysfunction, and we think we take on the dysfunction as our identity.
And don't nobody even
God didn't create
and we
us
move
for
in
that.
it, and we move in it because we used to it.
And
we comfortable.
The reason why God loves us beyond that is because He knows I didn't make you to be this, and I want to love you to life. You're still a little bit in death right now. I want to love you to life.
Right.
And I want to love you in a way that reveals to you who you are, who I created you to be, so that you can love you outside of the dysfunction. You can know you outside of the dysfunction,
because sometimes you only knew you in the dysfunction.
And you can know me
outside of dysfunction. Because one thing about the dysfunctional view we have on God that I used to see, or at least for me, the relationship I had with fathers or father figures, it was shaped what I thought my relationship with God was supposed to be.
Yep.
And we are doing God a disservice trying to compare our relationship with God to our relationship to our humanly fathers or father figures.
And not just God, we're doing ourselves a disservice because that further leaves your spirit in death.
Because now you can't trust God because your father betrayed you. Your human father betrayed you. So now every time God try to do something for you, try to make you, not make you, but talk to you about something, you just like, I don't think you're gonna do that for me.
Right.
Because that's what you used to. I'm saying, I'm being transparent in this one because that's how I used to feel all the time.
Yeah.
And it comes around in my actions because I used to pray like, God, can you working out some stuff? I used to pray real heavy. So when I get done praying, all right, what move I need to make?
Right.
I don't sit. I don't wait. I don't try to listen. I'm just like, all right, I done prayed. He gonna be with me in this, and I just go move and make a move that's just totally off of what I do, not being. Listening and paying attention and taking the time to meditate and try to listen to what He wants me to do. I just move. And that's when I knew I ain't trust God.
Yep.
I knew I didn't.
And something that God revealed to me also as far as being lukewarm, being in a relationship with Him, we have to... I want you to think about the relationships that you've had, the basis of those relationships, especially if those relationships were based in selfishness and what you could get. Think about your relationship with God and how you handle God, and what you can get. You only in a relationship because you want to get something out of it. You only in a relationship because you want to have sex. You only in a relationship because you want to feel secure. You don't want to give nothing to the other person. You don't want to sacrifice nothing.
I will say something that's selfish that most people don't. It can be selfish and most people don't think about it.
I want to feel love. I don't want to give it, but I want to
it
feel love.
It ain't even that. It's very simple. I want a relationship because I want to be with somebody.
And that's the worst.
I believe I need to be with somebody.
And no, you don't.
And that is a selfish, low self-esteem moment.
It is. It's selfish because it's, again, you're not wanting to do anything for the other person. You just want to be with somebody.
And even if you do stuff for another person, the foundation was I want to be with somebody.
Yeah.
Not because I care. I want to. It's.
But we treat God the same way though. We treat God like I want to know God because I want to get something. My relationship with God honestly started that way.
I mean, everybody's did. That's what we were taught.
I wanted to be with God because I needed peace. I didn't know peace at that time, and I needed peace. I didn't know what all that entailed. I didn't know it meant me serving His people and all of that. But when I
needed peace.
But when I got to know Him, and again, it's going to take work on your part. It's going to take you being in His Word consistently. It's going to take you cutting out some things.
Because or spending more time.
Because what you don't understand is those things that you are allowing in, or those things that you are doing are allowing certain spirits in to the point where you can't. Every time God pulls you out, you go back.
Right.
And you trying to figure out why and all this stuff. Stop what you're doing.
Right. And
look at what you are doing. Look at where you're trying to go. Look at where you came from. Are these things helping you get to where you're trying to go or keeping you where you were?
Sometimes you don't need to do all that. Sometimes you just need to sit.
Yeah.
And before you even get into the planning stages or trying to figure out where you're going, like, bro, who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you today?
Yeah.
And I feel like doing that conversation when trying to like really be with God I would say that is the most important conversation.
Absolutely.
Like,
who are you?
Who am I?
Who am I? Who are you?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you to me?
And even then, like, you will get the who are you so much quicker. But in my opinion,
who did you create me to be?
That's
the question.
I feel like that's a further long question. The most difficult question is who am I? Because this lost.
I don't think so. Because I think with who did you create me to be? God created.
That's what I'm tying. That's what I'm tying into that question. Who am I? That question is tied into that. Because when you asking the question of who am I, it's not the question of what you me to do. No. It ain't even that. It ain't even who am I, like the status of, oh, I am so and so. I work at so and so. I drive this. I do this. I am this. No. Who am I? Mm-hmm. And the essence of who am I to you? Who am I supposed to be in relationship to you? Mm-hmm. There are different layers of just understanding. And not just that, the real question of who am I right now? Because that's the question. The reason why I say it's the hardest is because you have to be reflective and be like, in this moment, I'm trash. Mm-hmm. And you got to have that conversation with yourself. That's why I was saying that's the hard one.
Like,
I ain't good
at all.
Like, who am I today? Oh, I ain't worth 2 nickels rubbed together.
And that's another thing. I ain't good. Like, good according to whose standards? Like, because a lot of people will say, like, all you gotta do is be a good person to go to heaven. No, ma'am. Because
there's a whole lot of people that do good things that don't know God.
And good according to the world standards,
and it was not the same.
Say it is but filthy rags.
That's what you trying to tell for, bad.
The world says, not the word. The word says, our best is but filthy rags to God.
Mm-hmm. That's why we needed Him and Jesus and the Holy Spirit.
Goodness.
Oh boy.
Worldly goodness and God's goodness are
two entirely different things.
Because this world is influenced by a force that is not God.
Now.
And originally it was supposed to be God.
God and us. And we allowed the other.
We talked about that in Bible study though. Like,
sure did.
It was supposed to be because God sent Lucifer here, and
we were supposed to be honest, we were supposed to counteract him.
Yeah, basically, that's why we're here.
We supposed to be counteracting Satan, and we out here joining with.
And that is why God also forgives us, because He knows that fool is cunning. He knows
He tricked us out the gate.
Exactly, and He
tricked us out the gate because He knew for a fact that if I can get to the thing that's supposed to block me from having dominion. Yes. I can do what I want to do.
But also, and that's why God looks at us and He's like, I didn't create you
for this.
I love you so much. I don't want that fool having authority over you.
I don't want that fool having authority over any of this stuff I made. I made this for you.
I want you to have the authority. So I want you to come back.
Man.
And I want you to move in this way to promote me, to share me, to overcome him.
Because I kicked him out, but I put you here to defend this.
But now he's at the point where y'all done let him infiltrate the church.
Man, that's a whole other combo.
And then that's how you get lukewarm Christians.
You get lukewarm Christians in a bunch of different ways. I can't even talk because you had blew my mind with that one. I was like, man, we don't think about how easy it was that he put humans on this planet to counteract Satan being sent here.
Even the way he set up the garden, the way he set up the
garden
the way he set up the garden was to how did he reveal it to me this morning? The way he set up the garden was to help us to understand we have a choice. You have the tree over here.
That's why free will was created.
That's why free will was created. You have the tree over here. You have.
I'm not going to make you. I want you to choose me.
Even him giving us free will, I think, is a little bit petty, because I feel like he was like, let's see who they choose.
But I feel like that was God. Like, all right, Satan, you think you really bet like this? Let's who they choose.
And if they choose you, watch what happens. And if they choose me, watch what happens.
Because I'm gonna show you up either way.
Right.
I'm finna end your story either way.
Right.
At this point, I'm just trying to see, I had put them here to counteract you, but if I gotta come and intervene, you don't want me to come through here. That way God really, you don't want me to come through here. I'm really trying to let them handle this. I wanted them to handle this. Don't make me come back down there. He's such a parent. He's such a parent.
That's why he made us in his image. He said, let's make man like us.
Not, bruh, because he's trying to say, I'm going to make him look like me so you know that it's me. So if you make me come back down there, like, it's a parent that's upset. Oh, you acting up like this. I kicked you out the house for a reason. So you going to try to pull back up? You think you going to get all your little fallen angels that you took from me in order to come back up here to me? You know what I mean? I got left. I smack you, boy. I smack you with holy divine. What? I'm trying to let them handle it. Don't make me come back down there. Cause when I come back down there, ain't gonna be no water. Gonna be some fire. I got that fire. Think about it. Petty.
But something else.
I got that fire.
That God revealed to me is that He wants us to know how to speak His love language. And how does that come? Because that's where the whole relationship thing was going. In our relationships, we don't learn. If we really don't go into it with the right mindset, we don't care to speak the other person's love language.
Man, you know what? And I feel like it's such a
true with God. When you learn to speak His love language, and when you and it all comes like it all comes when you spend more time with Him. You learn to speak His love language. You learn His love language for you. And that's how you fall deeper. Like when you trying to understand like what these relationships with God are, like that people have, like I don't understand why they're so deep. I don't understand why the relationships are so deep. I don't understand like how do you see God this way and I don't feel that. It's because these people have taken the time to spend time with God and really get to know Him. And you think, and it's just because you've been taught this, you've been taught that all you got to do is go to church, and all you got to do is pay your tithes, and all you got to do is be active in church, and that equates to having a relationship with God, but it does not. Because there were plenty of folks in the church, in the choir, and busting it down. In the choir, didn't know God. Dancing, didn't know God.
Okay. When you said buzzing it down, it didn't translate right. My bad. I was reading.
I'm thinking about that too.
Because certain churches, they buzzing it down, and they shouldn't be. Yeah, that's the thing.
But I mean, even that though, like that is because of what we were taught about God, and we weren't taught to have a relationship with Him, and God understands that, and so I believe God sent us here to help us understand that, like to help. God sent us here to share with y'all in the way that we can, in the way that He created us to. There's a way to know God that we have not been taught.
Right.
And God understands that, and God loves y'all enough to send you help and to send you a sign through other people to get to know Him, to tell you, get to know Him.
Man.
Tell Him the way you think that you're a Christian is not really it. And it's not from a place
and have
of
that
judgment.
conversation.
It's from a place
telling
of
you,
love,
talk about
I
yourself.
do not want y'all to get to heaven expecting to get in, and it ain't it.
Boy, that Lamb Book of Life come out, they're going to be like, denied.
But, and then also, think about this. A lot of times, y'all don't want to, we get in this place where we really don't want to know God. We just don't want to go to hell. We don't want to go to heaven. We just don't. No,
we want to go to heaven. We don't want to know God to know.
If we wanted to go to heaven, we would do the things that it would take to get to heaven.
No, we wouldn't.
We would be.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. I wouldn't say that. Okay. Because heaven is idealized.
That's true.
Because you think about the picture of everything heaven's supposed to be, and
I
you feel like if I did everything to not go to hell, I should be in this place. It's not about me learning. It's not about me having a relationship with God per se.
It's not about me being who God told me
Nope.
to be.
I just don't want to be in hell. So if I'm not in hell, I at least got to be here.
But then let me tell you this.
Because I used to say something foolish.
But let me show you. But listen, this is what God said to me about that. The reason why you get there is because you kept showing God that that's where you wanted to be.
Talking about hell?
Yeah.
Oh.
You keep giving in to sin. That's where you want to be. Sin is in hell.
Mm-hmm.
You keep giving in to sin. Keep going back to sin. That's where you want to be. God is a gentleman. He is not going to kidnap you and take you.
That's what I was trying to say earlier.
To where you don't want to be.
What it was.
If you don't want to be with him.
Free will. That's what it was.
And that is why. That's why, like, they say, well, if God is gracious, how does his grace run out? Because at the end of the day, he
got a nerve, and you gonna be on the last one.
But also, he lets you be where you want to be.
I ain't finna force you. It's just like a parent. I'm gonna tell you this stove hot. I'm gonna tell you it's hot. I'm gonna tell you gonna touch it, ain't it? Go ahead.
Your mouth saying you want to go to heaven, but the rest of you is saying you want to go to hell. You want to be in hell.
You want to rot. You want to burn.
Because you have latched on. You have latched your identity to these things that reside in hell. Right.
And that's where you see your worth at. No, what was funny was when I looked up God's love language and we was talking about it, they said that he obeys, like there are ways that he connects to all the love language that we know. But they said his divine love language is obedience. And I was like, yeah.
And all that means, all obedience means is we trust God enough with where
it's a podcast special because I know we've been going a long time.
We trust God enough. This is just gonna be the new format in general. So
I mean, I'm with it. I'm just like, it's funny to me.
All it means is that we trust God enough. All obedience is we trust God enough to say, okay, you said don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't quite understand why, but I trust that you're leading me in the right direction.
Or, in my opinion, for those that are trying to break away and recover, like, Lord, I'm still struggling with this. I'm giving it to you, but I am still struggling.
Yeah.
Keep leading me in the right direction to where I won't struggle with this no more.
And get to the point where, like, and that's also part of standing in the word and staying in prayer, because that once you, like, as you do that, the Holy Spirit begins to take, the Holy Spirit sees, like, okay, they really do want to be with me. They want me to
They're not just saying this. Right.
Like, and over time, that's where conviction comes in, because that is the Holy Spirit moving through you. And when you get ready to do something, you're like, that thing that normally wasn't there, start saying, don't do this. That's the Holy Spirit saying, I'm living in you.
Trying to.
If I'm trying to live in you. Now, if you do this, you're going to invite some in that's going to...
That ain't me.
That ain't me.
And you don't even know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is, and when they come in, they bring in more than just them.
Absolutely.
They crowding up. And that's the reason why when it comes to, like, breaking away from certain things, it ain't just one thing. If you've been stuck in something for a long time, or, like, addicted to something, or trying to get back on the path of, you know, I don't like to say straight and narrow, but you trying to do back right, you got to understand how many demons and spirits have been, like, you've come in contact with, that have stuck to you, that have invited other things. It is a process. It is not because and I'm just saying this, some people think baptism is it.
Oh, no.
They just think, I'm going to dunk myself in the water, I'm clean.
No. It's the water and the Spirit.
It's more than that. It's more than just, I've been baptized. I'm good. Bro, you was baptized when you was 8 and you didn't even understand why.
Why did you get baptized? Like,
my mama told me to.
Exactly.
See, that's why I was happy my folks didn't make me get baptized. They let me make the decision on my own.
First time I got baptized, my mama. Second time I got baptized because I thought I was supposed to. And so I'm thinking about it again because it's something that I genuinely want to do.
I would say do it again.
God has been speaking to me about it.
I would do it again.
So,
because I consciously made the decision to get baptized before I went to college. And it wasn't because I was going to college. I just felt like this is right for me to do. It was like when I finally started actually coming back and, like, really started believing in God again, I was just like, nah, I want to get baptized now.
So there's this poem called Ready or Not, and it's by
Ready
this
or
poet.
Not,
No, it's by a poet called Genetics. And this
Genetics.
Guy,
Throw me on.
It's about Christ coming back for the church. It's set up like a wedding. And,
oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Picture-wise.
Picture-wise.
He said something that one of the lines that he says was to remind your ex who you really belong to. And so that's what God just said to me about getting baptized. not my physical.
I know what he meant. I know exactly what he meant by that. I was like, oh Lord, that's fire. that's fire. Ooh, the mind. Ooh, that's fire.
But yeah, so that's okay, Jesus.
That's fire.
Okay, Jesus.
He did that. Oh, that's fire. Like God be having some liners that make you go, ooh, that's fire.
But yeah, but all that, even what you said about like there are things you have to let go. I told you that I had to stop talking to certain people. I had to just
you did tell me that
from certain people just because it is what God. So I prayed a prayer and I was like, whatever is separating me from you, remove it. And that the thing is, it wasn't necessarily the people; it was what was connected.
Yeah, what the people was doing.
Yeah, it's what is connected to the relationships that I had with the people.
Yeah,
what's connected to those relationships is soul ties that don't need to be.
Right. And sometimes people think soul ties just like primarily sexually related. No, it's things that you've also done with certain people. Like period.
Like I don't want anybody to ever think like I really don't care, but I don't want nobody to ever think like she became Christian and changed her because that's a main misconception. Like
you know what?
Also, I'm supposed to change. I ain't supposed to say the same.
But even
God is doing a new thing. That's
but even then though, I would say.
It's not that I changed or I started thinking I'm better than you or anything. Because little do you know, I pray for you every single day. But like, there's something connected to the relationship that we may have had or
that I can't be around no more.
I can't be around it because it separates me from God.
Right.
And I don't want that anymore. I don't want to be separated from God.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about it, what was crossing my mind when you said that, it was the idea of me becoming a Christian didn't change my personality. Who I am as a person, I was still that person. I just believe in God. Yeah. And it ends up maturing me and helping me in other ways, my relationship with him. Because you gotta think, even when we was my house back then, I didn't change. Yeah. I was the same person. However, the conversation shifted. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, this like this like we actually had conversations around it then. Yeah. I didn't change the person. I'm still Jay every day. But we talking about oh yeah, well this is like I feel like this.
But even now, like I see a little bit of a difference because of that spiritual maturity that has occurred. Yeah. Because even back then, if I could look back then, I could see a little bit of lukewarmness. Yeah. But it is because, and that's not from a judgmental space. It's just, I see it.
I wouldn't even say it was lukewarmness. I had an experience. Because you got to think about it. Yeah. I was coming off of my own form of church hurt that I had just re-experienced. Yeah. So what that was, it wasn't lukewarmness. It was trying to find out where I fit.
Yeah. And I feel that because I get the same. I've experienced the same thing. I've been like, okay, am I not on fire for Jesus because I'm not doing this or this? Am I lukewarm? Because
did I fail in this and that makes me lukewarm?
Right. And so it's all a matter of, again, in your word, in prayer, and knowing God.
And then back then I was like 24. Yeah. I was young. I was young. I'm still young, but like, bro, I was 24 at that time. I was in grad school. We were in quarantine. Yeah. It was a whole nother life. Well, no. I wasn't 24 at the time. I was 26. I was 24 when we first started having small conversations leading up to that. But when we had the quarantine at my house sabbatical, 26.
That was what a messy time.
Oh, so, man.
That's all we have today.
2 years ago seems such a long time ago.
It does.
Boy, COVID didn't ruin this life.
When I look at me now and me in 2020.
Oh, complete. I won't even say 180. That ain't enough. You had 360. You went all the way around.
No, because 360 just mean I went right back.
No. You can turn around and be in a whole nother location. How you think? Recalculating. Go GPS. You do that turn around. You on a whole nother path, baby.
Well, this has been a great episode. I thank God. Like this is dope.
It's fun, ain't it?
This is it.
Yeah. This is how it's supposed to be.
I like this.
Like if we ever had equipment. Right. I was trying.
It's okay. We're here now. That's what matters.
Amen.
And so I just want to thank God. And
we here.
Yeah. This is gonna get real. We gonna be doing this real regular.
This is like our introduction to like the new format. Like we actually can do this now.
Yes.
And I was like, I want, and now the YouTube can get lit. Cause like, and these clips when like, the Twitter gonna start. The Twitter finna boom, boy. When I tell you the Twitter finna boom, y'all gonna be seeing clips, gonna be sharing stuff, gonna be adding people, gonna be having conversations, and all them type stuff. Like the social media finna be booming because now we have this. It's so great. Instead of just hearing my voice or the random Instagrams in the house,
Right.
Because I mean, we tried, we did what we could. But
we're gonna get to a point where we start putting like clips. Like if we find something on TikTok or something, we're gonna put clips in the video.
no, that we have conversations about. Yeah. I feel like next episode we need to take like some TikToks and we need to break them down and be like, just to have fun. Like, bro, how did you perceive this?
We'll talk about that.
I feel that'd be dope.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Deuces. Peace. Yeah.